return of the Mac. It is. Now, I can't say much more because we'll probably get a copyright strike. Matt, our main event, UFC 246, it is the return of the Notorious Conor McGregor taking on Donald Cowboy Cerrone. Matt, special main event, start the 5-minute timer. So we're going to get really far into this fight. You've got the return of Conor McGregor. He hasn't fought since UFC 229, the biggest pay-per-view in UFC history. You had Khabib Nurmagomedov retaining his title, jumping out of the cage, attacking Dylan Davis.
It was a scene.
You had craziness ensuing in that fight. That was the last time you saw Conor McGregor. The lead up to the fight, the press conferences, they were insane. A lot of build up to that fight. Matt, this fight's coming up next weekend. We're taping this on Thursday, a week before the fight. And it's really interesting because less lead up, less media, less press. It's interesting because actually the photo that we have there from UFC.com, it says UFC.com/event/UFC 246 Conor. That's the way that they're billing this. The previews for ESPN Plus,
all Conor.
No Cowboy. This has been an all Conor type of scenario, and I'm going to put the odds out there quick. Conor McGregor opened as a -160 favorite. He's -310 right now. Cerrone opened as a +130 underdog. He's -245 now. On Tapology, out of 1,119 picks, 76% going with Conor McGregor. And of that 76%, 90% saying it's going to be by knockout or TKO, which is fine.
It is.
It's
That's
fine.
how it probably goes if he wins.
Because it's interesting. McGregor's had, obviously, a couple fights at 170. Won one. He lost one.
To Nate Diaz, who's not a
to
170.
Nate Diaz. Donald Cerrone, is he really a 170 or
kind of a tweener.
He's had more experience at 170 pounds, and let's
He knocked out Matt Brown in one of the greatest fights ever.
That was awesome. Let's say this the way that it should be said. Donald Cerrone since 2018 has had a lot of fights. He's 4-3. Conor McGregor since 2018 has had one fight. He's 0-1. Leave the chips where they are. You can say Conor McGregor. You can say this. You can argue. I would argue with you. Greatest featherweight of all time. You could argue it.
You wouldn't have an argument, though, but continue.
You can argue he's one of the greatest fighters of all time.
You can't, but continue.
You can make an argument. Champ, 145, 155, and then he took the celebrity boxing fight against Floyd Mayweather, and things went absolutely off the rails. Now he has a chance to right the ship. He said somewhat recently with the Mac Life in the past couple of weeks that he's more or less, and I'm paraphrasing, dictating his own camp. John Kavanaugh came out and said this as well. Connor's, painting the picture, and we're following along. It's paint by numbers, and we're following his lead, which is interesting because he brought Owen Roddy back for this camp. Donald Cerrone said, listen, I train all the time, but I break it up, and I have a lot of fun in doing so. Which brings me to my next point. Donald Cerrone's been finished in his last two fights. In the Tony Ferguson fight, yeah, it was to his own demise. He blew his nose, blew his eye up, and he looked like an old prospector.
He was getting lit up, though, at that point.
Dirty fruit salad in the back. And then in the fight after that, Justin Gaethje lights him up in Vancouver. So now he's coming back, coming off two finished losses against one of the greatest fighters, one of the biggest showmen of all time, the biggest star. The biggest star. The biggest star in MMA and Conor McGregor.
Okay.
How do you see this fight going down?
So after I listened to you praise Conor McGregor for the last 3.5 minutes,
I was kind of hoping you'd do this here.
The X's and O's of this is Cowboy Cerrone is an orthodox fighter who throws a ton of kicks. Conor McGregor is a southpaw fighter whose body and legs are wide open to getting lit up. That's the problem with this fight. Ever since this fight was announced, I told myself Cowboy doesn't move his head enough. Connor's gonna knock him out, because that's the problem. Cowboy is very stationary as an opponent. He doesn't really move like, let's think like Max Holloway. I know he lost his last fight, but usually he'll hit you 6 or 7 times, move out of the way a bunch, and then hit you back again. Conor McGregor, he has the ability to knock out Cerrone at any point during the fight until minute 8. At minute 8, Conor McGregor's health bar, he's got like the Sadiq Youssef. He's got an old-timey battery. He goes like this, and then he hits a wall. And yes, he can catch a second win later on in a fight, but he has to make it to later on in the fight. Conor McGregor has the better way of winning. He can knock out Cowboy Cerrone.
That's it.
Donald has 10 different ways to win, though. He can choke you out from his back. He can take you down and choke you out. He can beat you by ground and pound. He can put together combinations that involve kicks that end it. So here's my thing. Conor McGregor is probably going to win this fight. Same thing as the co-main event. Holly Holm's probably going to win. Donald Cerrone, if he fights like he did against Ally Aquinta, and that wasn't that long
Mike Perry.
But Mike Perry's not even good. Ally Aquinta's actually good. If he fights to his best, he's going to beat Conor McGregor. I don't actually see it being that competitive. The problem is he has such a slow start, and Conor McGregor's the opposite. He's a very fast starter. So Donald Cerrone needs to do whatever he can to just get through that first round.
The thing is, we've seen Cerrone against Tony Ferguson can be a slow burn, but he can start fast, which he did. And Justin Gaethje's a fast starter, and he lost by finish to both of those fighters. And listen, you can go all the way back, and you can say Donald Cerrone, go back to his fight against Masvidal. And a lot of people would, back then, 2017, Jorge Masvidal, what does it matter? He was on a roll at that point, and he looked good. And the way that he won was he pushed the pace, got Cerrone up against the fence, bam, done.
Here's my problem, though. Masvidal throws looping shots, McGregor throws straight shots, and Justin Gaethje set up the knockout with leg kicks. Conor McGregor doesn't throw leg kicks unless he fights Nate Diaz. He's only ever thrown them in the second Nate Diaz fight.
Or the clip that we see online where he kicks behind his foot and he called it the flat leg.
Here's the problem. If he stands at kicking range with Cowboy Cerrone, he's going to get lit the F up. It's not even going to be a close fight. Cowboy throws kicks, Conor doesn't. I don't know why more people aren't talking about this. Because let's say Conor starts out good, maybe drops Cowboy in the first round. Cowboy's going to kick the inside of his leg, he's going to kick him in the body, and he's going to make him tired. And that's the big key. Those body kicks, if he can land them, because Conor's not going to catch it and try to take him down, that would be foolish of him. If Cerrone can start off throwing really good body kicks, especially those big power ones that make the big slap, they're going to slow McGregor down.
And that power bar goes way down.
Exactly. And that's the point. That's all you have to do with Conor McGregor. And I know we're simplifying it, because he is a really good fighter. He's not the greatest ever, like Craig was saying. He doesn't even have an argument to be one of the greatest ever. But what he is, he's a very talented and very good knockout artist who has the speed to go along with it. So Cowboy, please, if you're listening, and I know you're not, move your head and throw your kicks. Set up your kicks with your punches. Throw that body kick as much as you can. Because the faster you can get Conor McGregor's power bar, if you will, down to zero, the much easier that fight's going to be. So I'm going to say Cowboy wins. And I'm going to say by rear naked choke in the third round. I just feel like eventually he's going to be able to take him down, especially at welterweight. Cowboy doesn't go for takedowns at 155, but in almost all of his fights at 170, he's able to secure a takedown at some point during it, and that's going to be at the huge detriment to Conor McGregor. So I'm going to say it. You've heard it here first, folks. I'm going to say third round TKO by Donald Cerrone.
Yeah, I don't see it going that way, but I have two questions for you.
Go.
Let's play devil's advocate here. If you're going to say Conor McGregor gets a win, how does he have to do it?
He's going to knock him out in under 2 minutes. That's the thing. If Conor wins, he's going to run over Cowboy. Like, there's not a situation I see where Conor goes out there and he works the jab for a few rounds and then moves out of the way, finds the counter shot and hits him. He's going to knock him out early due to the fact that Cerrone doesn't move his head.
If you took a fighter in his prime at 155 pounds and a guy like Eddie Alvarez, when Eddie Alvarez fought Conor McGregor for the title, how was he going to get a win?
Wait, what?
How is Eddie Alvarez going to beat Conor
was he going
McGregor?
to?
Would you go similar game plan to Cerrone? Would you say that they possess somewhat similar
Not
skills?
at all.
I mean, yeah, Eddie
doesn't throw
Alvarez,
kicks.
underground king,
But here's the problem.
super
Craig,
brawler.
We're comparing
Exactly.
a guy who's wrestling heavy to a guy who can wrestle.
Exactly.
And a guy who...
Exactly.
Here's my other point. Neither guy has fought a guy like the other one. Like, if you look back and think, okay, who's Donald fought? He's fought a lot of good guys, but he's never fought anyone who does karate style with boxing. Same thing with Conor. He's never
Max
fought
Holloway,
a guy...
but it was too early. It was too early.
Cowboy never fought Max Holloway.
No, I know. Continue.
But still, Max doesn't... Max is way more of a volume guy. Donald's going to try to put you away with one kick, with one punch. Max is going to hit you 100 times, and it was way too early in his career anyways. So it's going to be an interesting fight, and I don't feel like this is going to be the one-sided fight that I'd earlier predicted. I feel like Conor's going to have success, and he is probably going to win. 80% of me tells me he's going to win, but my official pick, I think Cowboy can weather that early storm and eventually find success later on in the fight. I'm going to say Donald.
My other question for you as we continue on way past 5 minutes, but the point is...
Fight.
Obviously, we know what a win means for a guy like Conor McGregor.
Do we?
That's where I was gonna go. But if Donald Cerrone's able to win, what do you do with him?
I have no idea. That's the problem. I want Cowboy to win. I think he's going to win. But he's not beating Usman. He's already lost Leon Edwards, who we assume is, if not next for the title, if
he fights Woodley.
Steps in, he fights Woodley. So maybe you could do a Cerrone versus the winner of that, but neither one of those guys is going to want to win that and then have to fight another guy to go up. So maybe you do like Damian Maia. Like, there's fights that he can have that are big enough.
Or he has a fight against Gilbert Burns.
I'm just saying, there's fights in the future that could generate enough hype. Like, you could do Cowboy versus maybe Dan Hooker if he beats Paul Felder. If he goes back down to 155, he could fight Dustin Poirier. Like, there's still fights for him because he's going to fight anyone, anywhere, anytime. That's kind of the Cowboy thing. But it just, there's not the marquee fights for Cowboy going forward as there would be for
That's
Conor.
the point. If Cowboy wins, it's not a title shot. It's not a title shot at 170. It's not a title shot at 155.
He might get a Masvidal rematch.
If probably maybe if Conor McGregor wins here, is it Masvidal for the BMF title like he said? Is it Justin Gaethje at 155 like he's kind of alluded to, or is it a fight against Usman or the winner of Khabib and Tony Ferguson.
Usman had one of the most unintentionally funny tweets. It wasn't even unintentional. It was still funny because Conor McGregor was like, maybe I'll fight for the 170 belt, and Kamaru Usman retweeted that and put, "You must have a death wish," because that's the only way. Like, if you think Khabib is a bad matchup for Conor, take Khabib, make him way bigger and better at striking. He's Kamaru Usman. Like, that's the worst fight for Conor McGregor to ever take. If he wants to get retired, fight Kamaru Usman. But that's the thing. He could fight Usman. He could fight Khabib. Let's say Tony beats Khabib too.
And you're not going to consider Masvidal in the picture, or are you?
You can, but the problem is Masvidal's going to do to Conor McGregor whatever he wants to. He's just a bigger version of him. That's the problem. I don't like Conor fighting at 170 unless it's guys who have made 155 before. And I know Masvidal has, but he's filled into that division enough that he's no longer 155.
I'll give you my prediction. He's fighting at 170. He says, it's my natural weight. I feel better about it. I don't have to spend as much time in camp worrying about the weight cut as I do the preparedness for the actual fight itself, which I think is a good way, especially if you're going to dip your toe back in the water and then jump into the deep end. So I think he's going to fight Cerrone. My prediction, he gets the win here, and then he moves to 55. And I brought up the name Justin Gaethje because he spent a lot of time with Oscar Willis talking about Justin Gaethje, and usually if you're talking about the guy and then it stops, you're going to fight them.
I don't think so. It's not a big enough fight for him. Like, if he wins this, he's set up for a title shot where he's going to make $15 million.
We've already had drama where Dana White's kind of talked about Justin Gaethje in a negative light. Justin Gaethje's come out and said, yeah, they offered me Tony Ferguson, and yeah, they offered me Dan Hooker, and I didn't want those fights. They didn't make sense for me. Conor McGregor, Gaethje at 155, and then he fights Khabib in the rematch if he gets the win.
Too much sense. With Conor McGregor, if it makes sense, it's probably not going to happen. This fight was supposed to happen 2 years ago before Mike Perry fought, before Cowboy fought Mike Perry. So we're going to have to wait for that fight if it does happen. I feel like we're going to get Gaethje versus Poirier 2 as the co-main event for Khabib Tony, and then whoever wins that fight, and not even whoever wins that, just in case there is a pullout of the main event, you can put either one of those guys into there. Let's say Khabib drops out, you could do Dustin versus Tony. That's an amazing fight. If Tony drops out, Dustin just fought Khabib and lost, you could put in Gaethje. There's a lot of options moving forward, and I feel like this is what this main event is kind of best known for. It should be UFC 246, should be UFC What Happens Next.
Oh boy, did you read that somewhere?
No. I just thought of that. I thought it was real keen. So I'm going to say Cowboy Cerrone. I feel like he can get the stoppage. It's a very compelling fight, though, and we could go on for a lot longer. But I feel like Cowboy, just at one point, you're going to show up for that big fight. He hasn't been able to do it yet, but maybe this is the one time.
Matt, I'm looking forward to it. I'm picking McGregor. You're picking Cerrone. Maybe. But listen, we're really looking forward to this. And if you get a chance, please go back, watch our UFC 246 predictions, Matt. Oh, yeah. We're this far into it. If you made it this far, thank you. But last year, Matt went 101 for 161 for 63%. I went 110 for 161 for 68%. If you're at 70%, you're a liar. If you're at 55%, you're doing all right. Trophy. And somehow I won the Fight Night Picks Prediction Champ Trophy.
Made by himself for himself.
Yeah, I bought it and I was hoping Matt would win, but it didn't happen. Matt, but we're really looking forward to 2020. It's a fun year of picks. Let us know who you're picking in the comments. This is a great card and we're really looking forward to it. So you're not going to want to miss the rest of our predictions. I'm looking forward to a great 2020. Fight Night Picks on YouTube. Let's get into it.